The following with two regards. Firstly, in context to the intended Strafanzeige, if necessary though, keyword Offizialdelikte, with regard to the Strafanzeige against only Marietta, SLOMKA and others, including though my brother, who by the way is changing his looks from formerly very tall 1.96 meters. He is being shrunken to around 190, and this will have a reason, which I'm coming to. Also, Strafanzeige against Jessica Stark, who else it is mentioned in a video row in a commentary underneath. Secondly, this is with regard to the real concerning but two buildings, one here, one in Berlin, that I try to compare. And why am I doing that? Because I think it is connected to at least to grab out one paragraph Menschenhandel. Menschenhandel on a larger scale, background academic, meaning texts are interesting, looks are interesting, and clothing may be also interesting. So, namely, the idea to double houses, to have for example, a flat. This flat, the other day when I went along the through the ale towards the house number 8, and there I found the shield Bomba. Yeah, so there is indeed a person living, responding to the family name Bomba. Across a dams, and if one would look underneath, one would indeed arrive already in Yugoslavia. There is a Ibrahimovic, and there could have been the idea to as well as look for me, as well as hide me, as well as store me till further undertakings. So this flat then may be represented somehow over there, unless this building is being doubled, seen to be doubled in a completely different place other than in Erfurt. This was conveyed though by one present that I've got in Heidelberg from Jessica Stark. I don't even remember what was inside. It was a nice little present. I think on grounds now I ought have been gotten way more and way other things, and also have gotten other offers. No, differently. Those people ought not have been in between. Those people meaning my brother and his Lebensgefährtin, for two reasons. Firstly, because I was concerned, I was long in the rows to receive, and secondly, on behalf of those very two. Yeah, my brother, a halfway full-fledged lawyer, and his Lebensgefährtin also a halfway full-fledged lawyer. So in establishing them as a in between, they of course themselves were being pushed to shores and to sides, which must not and ought not have been taken place. So conveyed by the packing, it was color Flieder. It was the color a fair lilac, and this indeed refers to this very flat, because before I contracted here a Wohnungsmietvertrag, a contract, a flat rental contract for my own though, not office contract, but living flat contract. This flat was indeed in a lilac, in a fair lilac. So this refers to a photo of mine. And then there was this other present, anything inside, wrapped by Jessica Stark, and this was also in lilac. So one therefore already can assume indeed there was another flat likewise as this, maybe left as in the same state of being, or being likewise prepared for living there in kind of, shall I say, normal conditions. That is in wall colors that are white and not I don't know what. So on another level, flat comparabilities. Then on another level, house comparabilities. I found that house being as if indeed being resembled in Berlin, Potsdamer Straße. The flat, which is the building, which is a bridge, if one wills, and one could then arrive already in Kuala Lumpur, and at the film. Then where would they get that idea from? No one would have come to that other than me. And no one would have come to the idea, including the academic, including the texts, including the style, including these kind of things, including the better sellable, if one wills, other than me, when being able to refer to indeed the pairing, father and son, of a Ralf Neues, of a former neighbor to Erfurt too. And let's not forget, I only met those people if the younger one shortly, and the Ralf Neues one for the period it took until the household insurance issue was over. That pairing, indeed, maybe even father and son, thereby also alluding to a prior picture of mine. There, the includability of the sexual, suggesting here until a child is this or that old, it gets licks. So you can transfer it onto an adult. But who would want to live through such an undertaking on those grounds, and maybe with those perspectives? So I found now the missing father, if one wills, to the pair that was likely to having been resembled here in Erfurt, namely the Mant person, maybe including a twin brother that Nadia Ziedi would know. A full-fledged jurist, as one could read, and likely to having profited from a 13 points homework result, which indeed, if I stand on that standpoint, and I must do, we have to stand onto that standpoint, then it indeed would endanger his very career if proceeded with in America on whose money, because that homework result was already exam relevant. So if this falls away, then the whole exam indeed is worth a shit. And then we have to look there, beginning of 90s, for the father, if one wills. Then we would later come to a daughter or a son that get licks for a couple of years and afterwards being passed over. One would indeed arrive at, figure-wise, flat comparability idea, doubling idea-wise, where would one arrive? Indeed at the psychological later, at a Gerhard Tuschow. One indeed would arrive at a Gerhard Tuschow because he was living in a flat, in a house, and the house is looking the very same as the very house in which Marburg II was situated, and in which Nadia Ziedi was living prior and after me having moved out to Marburg III. And where then did I move to when I arrived in Marburg III? I would indeed arrive at something like I would later get on grounds of the love relationship number 2, and then proceeded with love relationship number 3. I indeed would already then have arrived at something like a like a new state of being after having been gotten licks, but having lost DNA credentials, if one wills. Body-wise, not then, but thinking intellectual-wise. I hope this is understandable somehow. So, two situations in which I was already made a slut and received nothing. Firstly, upon the move into MR3, thereupon it is understandable why all of a sudden, but the acute Ibrahimovic, a whole area with women inside. Thereupon it is understandable why a Yugoslav had moved out, together with then the real or unreal Iranian, and then the blue-blooded, if he was blue-blooded, if one could test that. I contest that though. The blue-blooded would move in, the Horst, the Hamburgian Horst. So this was then already one situation. Prostitution situation, if one wills, on an academic level means then at the latest, I think my laptop was fixed and sucked and ready for indeed serving those people such a month, or else people. And then upon my move out to MR4, which was done and which was accompanied by loads of communications, also by Horst, but also later on by a Friederike Lüthe, I indeed was there put into someone's prostitution ring. Without me having received anything, without having had the chance to counteract, without having the chance to intervene anyhow. And this is the situation in which I'm still in, because here are people are being allowed, being watched, being applauded via TV, that I get here nothing in this country. This demands a strong answer, and I demand indeed. I even don't have to demand here anything. It has to be. I say Offizialdelikte. And now you have the right pool of people to firstly drag out of my life, and to have already dragged out of my life, because I mentioned it all in the while in my texts. And secondly, indeed, to put aside for further researches and so on and so forth. The reason why my brother is all of a sudden being shrunken is of course clear, because now it is the task to make everything family. Therefore, my father is too old. But therefore, one would need indeed a family member, which would be my brother, and who else would be more apt than overtaking everything and leaving me again alone and without anybody. Leaving me again alone and without anybody, and having thereupon successfully verarscht the whole legal system, the whole Rechtsstaat in Germany. The whole Rechtsstaat in Germany. Completely verarscht. So, these are so many hints. I receive money somehow. I have had already to receive money. But if loads of Greens and Turks and Arabs and I don't know what, TV females and males have to be convinced indeed that this is all a murky Scheiße, then of course it takes some years longer. I can say, also on those grounds, I remind my New Testament, not at all do I want that anything of that what I have long deserved remains anyhow in this country, with those people, with any Germans, up until further notice. So, it goes Anspruchsvermögen-wise to Australia for reasons, to the Arabian Gulf region, and to America, because Germany is still unable to keep its own. I remind, Marietta SLOMKA is working for the ZDF. It is still statutory. It is a statutory TV, and I have disregarded all the private senders that were showing up TV-wise. It is still statutory, and if Germany is not able to run against those people, to having run already against those people, I think we need indeed other countries help. Yeah, other countries help indeed. Lastly, for having secured the German Rechtssystem, the German legal system in Germany.